Now we're going to talk about actually playing in minor keys. There are not tons of minor key songs. I mentioned a few of the modern country tunes, Seminole Wind and the Thunder Rolls, and I tend to think of the older ones like 16 Tons and Hank Williams' Ramblin' Man, Call Elijah, and Dolly Parton's Jolene. But you also have, it's a pretty common for tunes in a major key to go to the relative minor key on the bridge, and so you run into a situation where you're not really playing a whole song in a minor key, but you're playing a section that starts out in the minor key. In swing tunes, it is a very common bridge. You have a tune in the key of C major, and then on the bridge it goes to the relative minor, A minor, to the 2/7 chord, 5 chord. And there are some other situations you encounter in country tunes that are akin to going to a minor key, and we'll look at those as well. Now, I think it would be useful for you to start out just by learning the minor scale, the Aeolian mode, the 6th mode of the major scale, in a couple of positions. We're just going to look at it from like you're playing an A minor on the 5th fret. I think you should also learn it like you're playing in D minor on the 5th fret. I'm going to leave that to you to learn on your own, and we're going to spend all our time on playing like A minor on the 5th fret. And learning the scale, you can get you can do an internet search if you want to, but you already know 5 of the notes of the A natural minor scale at the 5th fret, because included in it is the minor pentatonic scale that everybody knows. You just have to add 2 notes to those 5, and then you have the entire scale. And the notes you need to add are the 2nd note of the scale, B, the 7th fret on the low E string. You've got your C note, the 3rd, 4, D, you've got that, 5, E, that's part of the pentatonic. And then the 6th note is F natural there at the 8th fret on the A string. You've already got the 7th note, G, and back to the tonic, the 1 note, A. In this next octave up, the B is the 4th fret on the G string. You've already got your C, your D, your E, then you need the F, here the 6th fret on the B string. You already have your G, you've got your A, and then of course there's your B again and C. So now the chords, A minor is the relative minor to the key of C major, and therefore it has got the same sharps and flats, none in this case, and the same chords. Now, before we move on, some of you may be thinking, listen, if the A minor has the same notes as C, why do I have to learn the A minor scale as the A minor scale? Can't I just play the C scale oriented towards A? And you kind of can do that, but it would be short-sighted of you to do that. You want to learn the arpeggios of the notes of the 1 chord and the 4 chord. It is not as important to learn the arpeggio of the 5 chord E minor, for reasons we'll get to in a minute. But also there are going to be a couple of variants of the minor scale that we're going to look at that are commonly done, and so you'll just be much better served if you're oriented towards the scale you're actually playing in. You don't want to have to be thinking in terms of some other scale you in fact are not playing in. You'll be much more oriented towards your chord tones and towards the notes that are variable. Anyway, the chords are the same as the key of C. A is the 1 chord, B diminished is the 2 chord. That's one that is the 7th the 7 chord in the major key, and we don't use it there. In if you're studying jazz, you will use the 7th chord built on that B diminished, the half diminished 7th chord, excuse me, but it's commonly called by its street name, B minor flat 5th. But anyway, A minor, B diminished, C is the 3 chord, D minor is the 4 chord, E minor the 5 chord, F is the 6 chord, and G is the 7 chord. Now, the common cadence chord progression in A natural minor is not the 5 chord, E minor to A. It is G, the 7 chord to A. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. And that has that very folky, modally kind of flavor to it. As an aside, you sometimes do see that minor 5 chord being used if you were playing, just to keep it in A minor, if you were playing Secret Agent Man in the key of A minor rather than its usual E minor. The chorus goes, Secret Agent Man, Secret Agent Man. So you use the minor 5 chord E minor there, but the next part of the bridge goes, he's giving F, U, A number, E7, F, E7, A minor. Now that E7th chord that we're playing there has got the note G sharp in it. And what's going on with that? What's going on is that the modern practice, and by modern I mean from about 1650 or 1700 on, the modern practice is to, in the minor keys, to use a 5-7 chord, E7th in this case, just exactly as if we were playing in A major and using that very same 5-7. And we like it for the very same reasons that we like it in the major keys. It has a tritone in it, the dissonant tritone between the G sharp, the 3rd of the chord, and the D, the flat 7 of the chord, that introduces tension and leads the ear to want some release. That G sharp is also the leading tone to the A. It's a half a step below it, and you're accustomed to A as being the home note, and so that G sharp leads you to it. And additionally, we have the root movement down a 5th. You would have that with the E minor to A minor, but you don't have it with the G from C. And so we like to use the E7th. And so the first common variation on the A minor scale is when you're playing the E7th chord, or when you are in passages when you're going to have that E7th chord, to change the G to a G sharp. So if you have a minor and an E7, your E7th arpeggios can be exactly the same as E major, as the A major scale. E, G sharp is the 3rd, B is the 5th, and D is the 7th. But you've got the G sharp instead of the A natural's G. And you see many progressions in minor keys use both the G. Sometimes it may use that G back to A minor, and other times it may just use the G as part of the regular progression and always go back to the the 5-7 before going to the 1 chord. An example of a tune that uses both those chords would be The Thunder Rolls. And the thunder rolls, and the thunder rolls,